is, I guess, 25 years younger than me. When I leave, Brian will be the president of the United Mine Workers of America. And let me tell you something. We have had great leaders in this union. And the reason we have great leaders is because of you. And I want you to lift Brian Sampson up like you have lifted me up all these many years. Now, will you do that for me? Will you do that for me? Will you do that for me? I want Brian to stay up here. Brother Lacey, I need you to come back. Brother Josh, I need you to come back. Brother James Gibbs, would you come up? They all owe me money and I'm going to collect it right now. No, they don't owe me money. I wouldn't loan them any. I want y'all to know that I couldn't do anything without this leadership here. I have spent, well, I should say the union has spent, with my wishes, millions of dollars to save your pensions. Millions of dollars to spend your health care. Let me tell you something. You wouldn't have pensions and you wouldn't have health care if we hadn't been saving for a great day that we would need this money. What they call rainy days, right? But we had $40 million to spend. But I couldn't have spent it without the authorization of our executive board, some of which is standing here now, and we couldn't have won this fight without this group right here. They are just as important as I am. Give them a round of applause, number one. Now we're going to think about others here for a few minutes. This crowd would be bigger today if the storm hadn't come. All of you in this room now know somebody that lost their home. Somebody that lost their car. You may even know somebody that died here in the last couple weeks. At the hotel where I'm staying, we counted this morning 30-some electrical trucks from some other state. They came here to help you, to help your neighbors get back on their feet. I would not be the correct leader if I just ignored this. So we have with us today a representative of United Way. Young ladies here, I'm going to ask her to come up. I met her earlier, and she's doing the Lord's work. God tells us what to do, and He makes some of us His instrument, and some organizations His instrument. I want you to know something. The United Mine Workers of America has been touched by the almighty hand of God, or we wouldn't be here today. And we couldn't have been through the fights, the battles, the struggles that we've been through. God did that, but He made you, me, us, their instrument of His work. So somebody, I believe it's Brian, would you tell me your name again? I'm sorry. Megan Parks. She is here. We have a $2,500 check for her to take back to United Way, get people some food, get people some water, Whatever we can do. I know $2,500 won't do that. But go ahead and tell some of these millionaires to get down in their pocket and pull some money out, because they make a living off the backs of the people right now who are homeless and need help right now. I know the United Way is a wonderful organization. They do great work every day of our lives. And I want to let her say a few words.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I can't match the energy in the room. I could try to, but I won't make it. So just to introduce myself, I'm Megan Parks. I'm the new Executive Director of United Way of Southwest Virginia. And as you all know, the last 7 days have been really difficult for a lot of your neighbors throughout the region. So what we've been focused on is really trying to understand what the needs are across the region, trying to be there, physically be there, emotionally be there, and financially be there to support folks. We've had many people without food, without water, without power. We're trying to get all those resources pulled together to ensure all of our region is covered. We're going to continue that work. Right now, my team is in Damascus, Virginia, running a donation center for the day. So we are out there. We're looking to see what we're missing. So if we are missing something, we need to hear about that so that we can fix it. And we're going to continue to work through it. It's going to be a long process. We recognize long-term recovery doesn't happen overnight. So we're going to be here. And these funds mean that we're able to support folks who have gone through insurmountable odds to start to rebuild their lives and give them a brighter tomorrow. So I appreciate everything and generosity. Thank you for letting me be here today. I appreciate you.
Let's give her a standing ovation. She's done the Lord's work here. You guys can stay right here with me now, James. You need a chair. I'll get you. There you go. I'm going to see if this works. You remember all those rallies we used to have during the piston strike? How many piston strikers do we have in here? Stand up and be recognized. These are some of the most important people on earth right here. Roy Castlewood right here. We were at a rally with thousands of people. Somebody told me Roy was out there. And Roy's got one job now. And that job is to pray for me every day. And Roy's doing a good job because I'm still standing up and fighting back. Thank you, Roy. God bless all of you. So let me just tell you why these people who just stood up are so important. Doris, I believe that the rest of the labor movement ought to delegate somebody in their union to come down here. All 50-some unions in the AFL should come down here and stand in front of the people who are still able to come out and say thank you, because you saved the American labor movement. Did you realize that you did that? Let me tell you how you did that. When Ronald Reagan was president of the United States, he fired every single person who worked in Petco. He eliminated 10,000 jobs, but he also eliminated a union. And you know what happened after that? When Franklin Roosevelt was president in the 30s, John L. Lewis went out, organized the CIO, organized the steel workers, the rubber workers, the textile workers, the communication workers. That's where the labor movement came from. That's where the middle class came from. But what Ronald Reagan did was just the opposite. Business people, millionaires, billionaires went out across this country and said, the president wants you to break a union. And from that point on, until we stood up here, union after union lost strikes. People lost their jobs. somebody got to do the praying, got to direct contact with the Lord, because some of us, maybe the Lord won't answer when we, you know. So, when we won that fight, 4,000 people had gone to jail. By the way, if you're here today and you got arrested, stand up. I'm pretty sure we got some of them folks. We got the short words, sure. Last night, I got invited over to the Washington County Democrat function, Donkey Day. My friend, standing up there, James Gibbs, invited me. One of the things he failed to tell me is at some point in time, you're going to speak. I'm sitting there listening to people speak, and Karen, who you heard just a little bit ago, got up and started introducing me. I looked at James, I said, you didn't tell me I had to speak here tonight. He said, yeah, you'll be all right. And I was. No thanks to James, all right? But let me tell you, I spent a night in the Washington County Jail. That's my connection with Washington County. But $64 million in time. 4,000 people went to jail. I don't know where you go to see this. That doesn't happen in this country anymore. But you did. And the American labor movement owes you so much. And I am so thankful you're my friend. And I want you to know, you brag on me all the time. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. So those of you who stood up before, stand up again. Please, I know we're old and tired and got elements from one end to the other. Now the rest of you give them a standing ovation because these are the greatest young men and women in the world right here. This is the feet of the cross. This is the best American God right here in Southwest Virginia. God bless these workers. I wouldn't be where I am today without you. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Please take a seat. You know, I listened to that story that Brian told. He got this brand new truck, and his fiancee wrecked it. My goodness, Christy, where are you? I saw you out of the corner of my eye somewhere when I was walking around. Christy, stand up for a minute. Right there. Christy, I want you to know that man loves you because he loves that truck. But I know he loves you. Give her a round of applause. We love her. We're going to do one more thing, maybe two. I'll try not to be too boring here. There's some people in here that knows how this works. When I get through speaking, we go outside and get arrested. Now, if you're sweating blood over that, I'll give you a little bit of comfort. We're not going to do that today. Come back tomorrow and we'll do it, okay? You know, one of the things I'm so proud of is I was in the military. I don't want you to think I was some hero because they drafted me. When I got to Fort Knox, I had the banister in my hand and threw me off the front porch. But I went from Fort Knox to Fort Polk, some more training. This Army was big on training people in those days because there was war going on. I survived 10 and a half months in Vietnam with the infantry. And one of the things our union does every year is we go to the Vietnam Wall and we watch it. Because those 58,000 plus people were the ones that weren't fortunate enough to come home. And every single person's Vietnam veteran will tell you how lucky they were, how fortunate they were, and in some respects, we feel bad because others gave their lives and we didn't. But we honor those people. And we're going to take a minute here to honor the people who served in the military. So all of you who are veterans, stand up, and I know it's hard for some of you to stand up. Please stand up and remain standing for a moment, if you don't mind. Don't sit down. We're going to do something here. Take about 2 or 3 minutes. You'll remember this when we get finished. Don't sit down, okay? If you're here today and you have a son or a daughter or grandson, granddaughter, niece, or nephew serving in the military right now, stand up. This will get most of you. If you have somebody in your family that served in the armed forces of the United States, it doesn't have to be during war, but most people in Appalachia either had somebody served in World War II or Korea or Vietnam. Somebody in your family served. Would you please stand up for a second? Now I want you to this is going to take you 30 seconds. I want you to look around here. You know what this means? You are the most patriotic people on earth. Do you think if the Chamber of Commerce had a rally like this and they asked everybody in the Chamber of Commerce that served in the military or had somebody serve in the military stand up, do you know that there's nobody that we can find in Donald Trump's family, including him, and anybody related to him that ever served? I can't figure out how that could possibly happen. Well, I know how it happened with him, and please forgive me this. I don't know if you're a Donald Trump supporter, but this is true. He's a draft dodger. That's why he gets there. Thank you. Now we're going to do one last piece of this. You know, we talked about Morgan Griffin's voting record, didn't we? I would imagine it's less than 10%. It might be 0. But you send Morgan Griffin to Washington, D.C. Think about this. And then you call our office and say, have you gotten Morgan to agree to support our pensions? Have you gotten him to, how about us, got him to support our health care? No. Because when you voted for him, or whoever voted for him down here, should have known that he wasn't going to be for you. So when you send somebody to Washington, make sure you send us somebody that votes yes for you. Would you just do that for me? If you work for a living, and I'd say it's 98% of the people in this area, there's probably 2%, or maybe a little more, that are millionaires and rich, but most of the people work. Most of the people work. I would imagine you like your Social Security. If a vote came in the morning, whether or not your Social Security would be cut, do you think Morgan Griffin's going to vote yes or no? You don't know. So I hope he votes the right way. Don't send me somebody up there that you don't understand is going to vote no. You need somebody up there like Karen is going to vote yes. That's all you should care about, yes. I know you care about your Medicare. All of us are getting in that age bracket. We could not survive without a health card from the UMWA and a health card for Medicare. If there was a vote tomorrow for your Medicare, how do you think, or what do you believe, or how do you think Morgan Griffin would vote? I cannot tell you that he's a yes vote for you. Don't send somebody to Richmond. Don't send somebody to Washington that doesn't speak for you. Don't send somebody that doesn't speak for you. Now, I would imagine maybe somewhere in Southwest Virginia retired coal miner. I was with Tim Kaine last night. I want to speak for him a second, okay? He planned to be here. I think what happened was the fog got his helicopter grounded. I wouldn't get in a helicopter. I rode in a lot of helicopters in Vietnam. But I wouldn't get in one where you couldn't see 10 feet in front of you. And no pilot worth 10 cents would do that either. I prefer to have Tim Kaine alive and well and not crash in a helicopter. I think we can all agree with that. Can we say amen to that? Now, I want to do this analysis a little different. We begged, pleaded, lobbied, threatened, did everything in the world for people in the United States Senate. We had the Finance Committee of the United States Senate I testified in, and you know what? We're somebody that high, and it doesn't bother them at all to call them by their first name. You got a friend there. He doesn't call me President Roberts. He just says, Cecil, how you doing? I'm doing fine, Tim. You need more first name folks up there. More first name folks. When I went in to see him, there was about 5 or 6 of them. Some folks from here. He comes down in his office, pulls up the seat. He didn't give me a chance to say a word. He said, what do you guys need me to do? And I started to tell him, he said, wait a minute, you want me to get on this bill? Yes, put me on the bill. What else you want me to do? Go talk to your fellow brothers and sisters in the Senate. That's how hard it was to lobby Tim Kaine. You know why? That's the way Tim Kaine was when you voted for him. You didn't have to change Tim Kaine. Mitch McConnell, on the other hand, it only took about 4 years to change him, right? So send us people on first name basis, some people who care about you. That's how you should vote on election day, no other way. Don't say, oh, my cousin Jim said this guy's a nice fellow. A nice fellow's not what we need. You can send me the honest guy in the world if he votes yes on your behalf. I'll take the guy that presses sport or whatever he does, as long as he votes for you. Yeah. Because a nice fellow may not save your health. That's right. One last thing. When we pass legislation, it can be changed by the same kind of vote. But I'll be honest with you, it is a lot harder to change something once it passes. We've got that. Let's don't load that Senate up with bad people. Let's not load that House up with bad people. Let's take back the House. Let's keep the Senate. It's in your interest, not mine. I got one last story that I told last night, and some people heard it last night. This is a true story. How many of you know who Mother Jones was? You don't know who Mother Jones was? Man, y'all better get your books out. Mother Jones was the most fiery, militant woman. Now, change it. The most fiery, militant person that ever worked for the United Mine Workers of America. She could cuss up a storm and make it rain. I'm proud of the fact she was a good friend of my great-grandmother, who was known as Mother Blizzard. By the way, we give an award every year to the woman in this movement that we think most demonstrates the qualities of Mother Jones and Mother Blizzard. Blizzard Jones Award. This person right here that you heard from won it this year. How many of you have heard of the Ludlow Massacre? I want you to go home and read about this. It won't take you long. You pull up on your phone and you get the abbreviated part. There was efforts to organize the coal miners in Colorado. Those were all immigrants. Most of the people in our union that started it were immigrants. We used to print our journal in 25 to 26 different languages. And by the way, we shouldn't be too uppity. If we go back far enough, I don't mean you're from India. I mean you were here when old Columbus rode in. My guess, you can't claim that, but we do represent people in the Navajo Nation that can claim that. So, when people say, I don't like these folks coming in here, everybody came in here at some point in time. Did you realize that?
Amen. Yep.
Just a question of how long you've been here, okay? So all these immigrants were dying left and right by the hundreds in those coal mines. Guess who owned those coal mines? Anybody know? The richest man in America at that time. John Rockefeller. Yes, great-great-grandfather of J. Rockefeller, one of my dear friends. But we're talking about his great-great-grandfather, not him. Okay? As generations change, attitude changes, personalities change, right? So, we go on strike, and I say we, the union, went on strike, not me. I know I'm old, but not quite that old. The union goes on strike. The workers get evicted. In those days, here too, in this part of the country, if you struck, it kicked you out of the company house. You got evicted. So you were homeless and jobless at the same time. That happened on Pat Creek and Cabin Creek in 12 and 13. This is 14 in Colorado. These people are living in tents in the coldest winter in Colorado's history at that time. They were all Greek miners on strike and their families in the Ludlow Pond. Well, the Bowling thugs from Bluefield, you know, yeah, Bluefield, you know Bluefield, you know, West Virginia, Bluefield. That's where the Bowling thugs came from. And their sole purpose was to rid the coal industry of us. They didn't want anybody interfering in their business, right? They evicted the strikers on Cabin Creek and Pat Creek and shot into their tents with a machine gun, taking a machine gun to Colorado. Martial law was declared in Pat Creek and Cabin Creek, and the strike was broken. Came back later, the strike was broken. Now the same group made their way all the way across the country with that same machine gun. They mount that machine gun up on the hill. I want you to think about this. These are women and children living in these tents with the knife. And they're taking that machine guns and firing into those tents. And about noon on this day, we're talking about a 12-year-old boy stood up and they cut him in two with that machine gun. He's dead. Later in the day, Louis Ticus, the leader of that colony, was beaten and shot to death by the strike. Well, that broke the strike, as you might guess. Mother Jones called for a rally. I don't call it a rally because they weren't planning on doing anything in particular. She called for a meeting of everybody. The women, the men, the neighbors, the supporters of the union. As you might guess, people crying their eyes out because they just buried men, women and men, and babies. When I say babies, I'm talking about a few months old. That kind of funeral's tough. If you've never been to a funeral for a kid, rip your heart. Just rip your heart. She got up in front of all these people. This militant woman who's known for cursing from one end of this country to the other. She looked out like I'm looking at you now. And this is what she said. And I know you get tired. I know you get frustrated. We all do. Heck, I get frustrated. And she said this. Sure you lost. Sure you lost. Then she paused. But they had bayonets. And all you had was the Constitution of the United States. And And then she said, let me assure you, any confrontation between bayonets and the Constitution, the bayonets will win every time. Then she paused again. And she said, but. And everybody's looking at her. But, again, you must fight. You must fight. You must fight and win. You must fight and lose. But you can never stop fighting. Brothers and sisters, I don't care how tough it gets, you must fight. You must fight and win. You must fight and lose. But you can't quit fighting. You must fight. As you might guess, that's pretty much the end. I need you to vote. No. You need to vote. Doris says vote early. I voted last week. As soon as that door is open, because my wife and we might be the only Democrats in our area, by the way. We voted right. We voted for people who stand up for you and not for them. People who care about our democracy and care about women's rights just like their own rights. And let me say this in closing. If you're a man, be a man and stand up for your wife, your daughter, your granddaughter,